Hello. Nah, 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 nah. I'm getting jiggy with it. All right. How's everybody doing? Uh-oh. Sometimes I hear stuff. Sometimes you hear voices and think people talking to you. Ain't nobody talking to me. Anyhow, oh boy. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Uh-oh. They're changing stuff. What the heck? Oh, bring them on camera. They're always changing stuff. These smartphones are crazy. They always wave, bring them on camera. So I can wave at people now? This is weird. I see y'all coming in and it says, oh, okay, I can wave or bring you on camera. You know why they change smartphones and all this software all the time? They change it to keep you guessing. They change it for old people. That's why they do it. They do it for us because if they constantly change how all this software works, it confuses us. It's easy to confuse old people. Y'all don't confuse old people. But they keep updating the software, so it's weird. I'm watching y'all come in the room, and it's got all these weird options now. This is crazy. One of them says electrocute. Let me press that. Oh, uh-oh, get her phone number. Oh, this is what I say. I have some there's some fine women on here, my friends. I press that button. Oh, get a date. Look, check that. I pressed the get a date button. I might get a date, y'all. Anyway, good afternoon, people. It's the afternoon. I rarely do an afternoon video, but yeah. Christine said eject button. Yeah, that's what I did. We need an eject button, but I think most of y'all use that button. You use the block button. You like people say stuff you don't like block. But they have all these weird options now. It's crazy. But anyway, I was getting dirty this afternoon. Had a cup of coffee. Anytime I have a cup of coffee, I probably do a video. I don't know. I feel like talking. So we're going to talk a little bit. I'm growing this evening. This evening, I'm opening my aquaponics system. So, and I was going to talk a little bit about medicinal vegetables. I didn't know. Did you know they existed? You didn't know they existed? Medicinal vegetables. There's a big difference, humongous difference from growing vegetables chemically, growing them organically in a big farm, growing them aquaponic and hydroponically, and growing them medicinally. This is something I'm making up. I know I'm making it up, but listen to me. It's all based on solid theories. So I'm getting my hands dirty. So there's a difference between growing a plant organic and natural. First of all, let's clarify that. Organic is not natural. It is not natural. It is not natural. It's not natural. Organic is growing a plant without chemicals. Doesn't mean it's going to be natural soil. Doesn't mean there's going to be microbiology in the soil. It doesn't mean anything in there is going to be healthy for you at all. It means the plant will grow and it'll make a fruit. Doesn't mean the fruit will be healthy. It doesn't mean the plant will be exposed to the environment that makes its genetic expression come out, right? It doesn't mean that bugs will land on it and it'll make a certain compound which uses as a gas to call in ladybugs to eat whatever the predator is, and that gas dries up later, becomes a different compound, acids break it down, you eat it, and that's what actually is the medicinal parts of most of these plants. The fact that they grow in the environment year to year to year to year to year in that climate, right? So there's a difference between growing a plant to get a fruit. There's a lot of ways to do it. You can do it chemically, organically, and you can do it naturally. Naturally, by far, is the most healthy. So I'm going to show you something real quick. So this is how I do my tomatoes. I can't show you how I save my seeds right now. I have to show you that in the fall. But how you want to save your tomato seeds is you take your tomato, you put it in a jar. You put like some sort of cheesecloth or napkin over top. Use a little rubber band, and you add water to it. You let it sit there for 2 weeks because the tomato seeds are covered by this gelatinous substance, bacteria and things there. You break that down. And that's what the whole 2 weeks is for, is to break all that gelatinous stuff down. Once it breaks it down, the membrane, you have the seed. Then you take the seed, put it in a paper towel. And this is, all right, let me see if I can reverse the camera. I'll show you. Dang it, I'm old. I know there's a reverse button on this camera somewhere. There it goes. Hold on, right here. Right there. All right. So this is what you do. So this is what I do. And then I'll just take the seed and I'll put them in these napkins. Now, mind you, this is not a tomato seed. This is, actually, wait a minute. That might be a tomato. That is a tomato seed. So there's a bunch in here, and I have no idea what kind of tomato it is, and I don't care. And there's a reason why I don't care. The reason why, let me show you these guys down here. So I'm planting, these are tomatoes. Let me see if I can actually, I'll show you. So anyway, I'll take the seeds. I'll get a clump of them, and let me walk over here to this. I got to unplug. This is my avocado right here. It's one of my avocados, one of my babies. And I'll just take them, I'll throw them in the ground. And so here's a whole bunch of tomatoes that came up. I'll just take a clump of seeds, I'll throw them in a bigger pot so they can come up. And these are not for production, right? Like, I'm not going to get tons and tons of tomatoes off of these guys because I'm starting them late. And they're going to grow slow. Let me reverse the camera. But there's a couple things that happens when you do that, right? You just put it outside. It's in the climate. It was open pollinated, so you don't know what you're going to get. So you're not going to say that this is a stripy tomato or that it's a truss tomato or that it's a hybrid. What you want is a natural medicinal tomato. Uh-oh, what did I cut off? Something got cut off? Uh-oh, something's blurry. What's blurry? You guys saying stuff. Okay, hopefully we're still good. And so what'll happen is they all come up. And so I noticed, I guess about 2 or 3 days ago, these guys all came up. This is how I do all my seeds, because I want them open pollinated. I want the genetics that grow well in the environment to share. I want the epigenetics to pass down to the next generation of tomatoes, whatever it needs to do well in this climate, in the soils that I tend to grow in. And then I'll take that, here's some right here. You know, I'm gonna have to just reverse and just show you everything. Then we could talk about the theory of it. Let me reverse this again. And I'll show you, I'm opening my aquaponic system. All right, nope, did it again. Let's try that again. All right, there we go. And this is what I'll do. I'll just take the guys out. These are the tomatoes. A couple interesting things that'll happen. The biggest ones are the ones that I'll tend to plant. And so this was all one group right here. Stick them in the pot down here. And of course, that one is probably 8 times the size, and that one is probably 8 or 10 times the size as all these little guys. So what I'm doing is I'm showing favoritism to the tomatoes that actually are the biggest. Why? Because those are the ones that are doing best in the climate. And then I'll just take them. Here's the soil, by the way. What am I planting them in? This is one of my mini compost bins. I've got tons and tons of compost. Why? Because every time I do something stupid like that, which is unsustainable. Oh, dang it. Get off of there, fly. Little bastard. I'll take those tomatoes, all my garbage, and I'll put them in big bins like this. I'll put red wigglers in there. That'll break them down. And then I get the soil. So this isn't pretty soil, right? This isn't garden soil. You're not going to go and buy this. You can't buy this. You can buy dead compost. I don't know if you can buy real compost, but see how it's dark, it's rich, it's deep. You get down there and you put your hands in there like, oh, he's getting dirty. But look at that. That's deep and delicious. This is what you want. Get it on your hands. Get it. Because you know the other thing that's happening right there is all that nasty soil and all that microbiology is on my skin. It's going into my skin. The bacteria underneath my skin, my genes, all of that's mixing together with bacteria that's naturally in this climate, that knows how to exist in this climate. My body's picking up that DNA, all types of fun stuff. Freeman said nasty. That's not nasty. This is good. This is delicious, man. You might get in there, might even find some lunch. Hold on, let's get down in there. I might even find some leftover avocado. Oh, look at this. Look, check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check me out. Check it out. Check it out. Guess what that is? Y'all see what that is? Man, that's an alien. This is what you want. This is exactly what you want. Because that worm, and that's not a red wiggler. It's not one of my buddies. This is just a natural earthworm that came from this environment. And so what he's doing he's breaking all that good stuff down. See, I got worm goo. Y'all see the worm goo? The worm goo. Worm goo is good for you. And so I get all that on me. But anyway, so I'm planting that. And these are your medicinal tomatoes. And then what I'll do is I'll take some of them. Oh, here's a pot right here. It's so easy. It's just stupid. I'll put them a hole in the ground. I'll put a little hole in the ground like that. Let's grab one. Get the biggest one I can find out of the little ones. Because I planted all the big ones. I meant to show this to you and I didn't show it to you. But I get busy doing stuff. I drink coffee. I get excited. I like to put them in water like that. That way, one, it keeps them alive. They got a little bit of root system. Put it down in the ground. And the good thing is your tomato will grow roots all along its stem. So I'll put it deep down in there as I can get it. All along that stem, it's going to grow a root system. Need good soil root contact. So I'll push it down in. Done. See you going by. Let me flip it back around. Oh, no. Oh, before I do that. Other thing I'll do, I'll show you this in a minute. There's my nasty, dirty aquaponic system. I'll explain to you about a dirty aquaponic system. There's some bigger tomatoes right there. And I'll take a few of these, the ones I don't have pots for, and I'll throw them over there. So now, all right. So it's a medicinal tomato, right? Because, and I won't get tons of tomatoes off of these guys. I might, sometimes you luck up. I got some tomatoes in the bed that you saw. They're already, I guess the biggest one's about 14 inches, something like that. It's Pennsylvania, so it's cold, so we're starting late. But those were grown from seeds, and I think those were Rutgers, right? So the guys over there are Rutgers. I grow all different types, right? And the reason those Rutgers are over there is because they are pure hybrid. No, they're not hybrid. They're heirloom, but they're selectively bred, right? They'll put the Rutgers in a greenhouse with other Rutgers, so they guarantee they can sell you a Rutgers plant. And there's a good reason for that, because we're silly, we're stupid, we're dumb. But I like Rutgers. I like the flavor sometimes. I like the stripey. I love things like that. But the reality is that's not natural. It's not natural to do that. So what you want to do is you want it to be open pollinated. So you want the bees to go from the Rutgers to the stripey, to the Amish paste, to the grape, to the indeterminates and the determinates. And guess what happens? The best genetics actually end up getting passed into that seed. I'll take all those seeds in that tomato. I'll throw them in another pot. The best, strongest ones in this climate will actually come up. And once they come up, I'll take the biggest, strongest ones that have the best genetics that are growing. Those will be the first ones that I plant. I'll put some in a pot. I'll put some in the aquaponics system, and I'll put some in the ground. Those are my medicinal tomatoes. These are growing. It's growing tomatoes the way they've always grown, right? Not the one you saw in the aquaponic grow bed. That one, obviously, I didn't start. I won't pretend I started that. But I'll eat from that one because I'll get tons and tons. I'll probably get, I said Rutgers, I'll probably get 80 to 100 tomatoes off of that one tomato. I'm going to prove it to you because I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you this grow bed throughout the year so you can see all the tomatoes that are coming off of this one single plant. But then the medicinal ones I grow, I might get 20 or 30, which is okay because everything's not about production. It's about health also. I'm going to go back and see your comments in a minute. I just want to kind of get all this out real quick. Then I'll go back and look at your comments. So ask any question you want. This is my dirty day. We're going to be dirty. I'll talk about this one. Oh, I got to plug in. If I don't plug in, this is going to be a 5-minute video. No, don't get smart. People say, oh, 5-minute video. It's impossible. He can't do no 5-minute video. He like to run his mouth. So there's a difference between growing a plant naturally versus growing it organic versus growing it chemically. And then, of course, you can do that in the soil. You can do it in an aquaponic system. You can do it in a pot. I grow a lot of things in pots because I live in Pennsylvania. It's cold here, y'all. Y'all know snow? It's snow. You can't grow this stuff. And I like to grow them in the winter. So I got a whole bunch of peppers. One day I have to show y'all around here. My deck is dirty. It's full of plants. I think half of my plants are on this deck. I probably have about 5,000. I don't know if you can see. I probably have 5,000 or so different plants. Can y'all see it? This is my papaya. Y'all see my papaya? Say hi, papaya. That's my papaya right there. We're going to get papaya. Y'all going to see papayas this year. We're going to have papayas in Pennsylvania. It's crazy. I know, right? And I think there's peppers and a bunch of stuff back there. Some of the stuff I sell. So sometimes I put it in a pot. Other times I'll put it in a larger pot. And other times I put it in the ground. And I'll eat from all of it. right? Because there's a whole bunch of medicinal things that are happening. It's not just the tomato. It's actually the fact that I'm picking up worms and I'm picking up slugs and I'm picking up all the microbiology on my dirty hand. Then I'm gonna go get an apple and I'm not gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna go get the apple. Sorry, so I might rinse my hand a little bit, just a little bit, get a little worm goo off of it. But a lot of times when I'm growing stuff or I'm in the garden, I'm walking by, you see a cherry tomato, pick it up and eat it. The healthiest food you can eat is raw right off the vine. That's the other part about a medicinal tomato. You want to eat it fresh off the vine. Why? Because we evolved that way. When we evolved, we are. It's like a lot of people, they like to argue about, are we omnivores? Are we herbivores? And I don't get any argument. I think it's a stupid, silly argument. It's dumb. I think science answered that question a long time ago. Biology answered that question a long time ago. We are technovores, right? What is a technovore? It is a creature that uses technology to eat food it's not supposed to eat. So if you can eat it raw, then you're supposed to eat it. If you can't eat it raw, if it will kill you, then you did not evolve to eat that. You're using your technology to eat it. So, but people can eat what they want. I don't tell anybody what to eat. I don't care. I'm one of the vegetarians. I know y'all got your vegetarian, vegan racism going. I don't care what people eat. I think that I would prefer that we evolve in a more sustainable direction. Eating less animals is more sustainable. But, you know, I don't debate with that. But anyway, so here's the point. So in terms of being a technivore, I don't cook any of my medicinal tomatoes. In fact, to be honest with you, I don't think I really even cook any tomatoes that I actually grow myself. Most of the ones that I grow myself, I'm going to eat them raw on a salad. I'm going to put them in a smoothie, or when I'm just walking in the garden, I'll just pick them right off the plant, pop them in my mouth. Because that's how we evolved to eat them. The compounds in that plant are exactly how they were when we evolved. Like if you watched my videos before when we talked about this, I'm sorry, my nose is itchy. I don't know what's going on. What is medicinal? Medicinal, there's eating what we ate when our bodies evolved, right? So our body's made up of lots of different cells. Half of those cells are human. The other half of the cells are not human. They're flora and fauna and microbiology. The microbiology, they should be complementing with your DNA. But when you eat something, you expose all of those cells to different compounds from those plants. Over millions of years, our bodies learn how to solve problems in our bodies with those compounds from those plants in that fresh format, which is why fresh fruits and vegetables are very good for you. They're medicinal. If you don't eat fresh fruits and vegetables, you will be dying early. That's just the simple, ugly fact of it. If you raise your kids to eat all cooked food, they're going to be dying early, which is why part of why the doctors are saying now it's not a lot of our diseases we don't pass down through genetics. We actually pass them down through teaching our kids to eat unhealthy the way we do. So everything I grow myself, I try to eat it raw as much as possible, unless I got way too much production. You see that? I just wipe worm goo on my face. It smells like worm too. Look at that. My nose is itchy. That's okay. The bacteria's going in biology. We working together. DNA's picking everything up. You ever look at something fun? Look at there was a French, I think it was in France, right? There was a French study that talked about how everything you come in contact, you exchange DNA with every other living organism you come in contact with. And that's how we learned and we transferred DNA information through species to species. It was, I think that came from that French study where they took the genetically modified, it was either corn or soy, I forgot which one it was, and they fed it to, it was a cow or a pig. I'm getting old, I forget the details. I'll post a link if you want to see it. And what they found out is in the stomach of the cow or the pig, the bacteria was actually creating Bt pesticides, which was what was making these animals very sick. And it becomes a theory of why GMO is so dangerous, because you're actually giving your body DNA that's not evolved on this planet. You're effectively, when you eat a GMO apple, you're actually giving your body genetic information that does not exist on this planet and never have. You're basically eating an alien. You might as well go to Mars, pick up a rock and start sucking on it. You're really taking that. In fact, it's worse than that because the rocks on Mars, they evolved on Mars. They evolved with the microbiology, the flora, the fauna back before Mars became desert. So you want to eat natural things on the natural planet that your body evolved, and things that people make in labs, you want to eat that as little as possible. So that's medicinal tomatoes. I grow aquaponically. And so people, there's a good argument. They go back and forth. Is growing in soil and hydroponic and aquaponic, what's healthier? You know, what's healthier? One's natural, one's not unnatural. Here's where I stand basically on it. I don't grow hydroponic because hydroponic, you got to use nutrient solutions. I don't want that laboratory type stuff in my body. I don't. I grow in soil and I grow in aquaponics, mainly because it's natural, right? Like the question is, you know, growing a tomato in water, is that natural? Does it happen in nature? Well, here's a little experiment for you. Get a big bucket of water, or if you got a pond, and plant a tomato by the pond and see which way the tomato grows. You will find out the tomato will grow directly towards the water. It will grow into the water and it will grow roots. Why? Because tomatoes grow semi-aquatic. They always have, they always will. They have the ability to make adventitious root systems, which have bigger pores than their soil-based root systems, which is the genetic evidence that they actually came from aquatic type situations. Every plant on the planet climbed out of the ocean, so most of them still have the genetics to grow semi-aquatic. So I grow aquaponics because it's natural, not hydroponics. Hydroponics is growing with nutrient solutions. Aquaponics is growing with fish. And so I'm just wiping worm goo all over my nose. So I grow with both. The thing I love about soil is that the tomato spent most of its more recent evolution in soil, and I just have more land. I have more soil to grow in. I grow in aquaponics because I can put lots of sand, silts, and clays and things in the grow beds, which I can show you this filthy grow bed over here, because I didn't clean it out this year. As the microbiology breaks down this, let me show you. I'm gonna walk over here. I think my battery's okay. I'll show you. This is how horrible it is. And so aquaponics is growing with fish, right? So the fish actually, and there's some things about aquaponics. The fish are actually providing the nitrates and the ammonia for the microbiology. I know a lot of times I'll say it, other people say it, is that, you know, the plants are cleaning the water and the fish are feeding the plants. And the water pumps up here. The bed completely fills up. This bed, I guess, is about 12 inches in height. So 12 inches, probably 10 inches of rocks. And that down in there is called a bell siphon. So what happens is this bed fills up. Once it gets to the top of that bell siphon, it drains. And so what happens is every 12 minutes, the bed fills up, drains, floods and drains, floods and drains, floods and drains. So it's a flood and drain bed. So there's tomato over there. This is like just a little wireless connection. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, you guys. I had to switch from Wi-Fi over to whatever it's called. Anyway, I had to swap it. So anyway, the water comes in, the bed fills up. And I can go through the details of this later. I don't want to go through the details now, but the point is the bed floods and drains every 12 minutes. So basically you're growing a lot of different types of plants. In this type of situation, I've got cucumber. I think I got 2 different types of cucumber. The bed is just taken over with mint. Why do I like mint? Because mint it just takes over the bed. It lives all winter. This whole bed will freeze over solid and the mint's still alive. Early in the spring, you know, when there's even still snow in this bed, mint will start coming up already. And so mint could care less about being completely frozen in anaerobic water. But what it does, it allows the bed to get started going early. I think I got a bunch of other stuff in here. Here's a bunch of stuff. This is actually, what is this? There's a lettuce in there. Here's a bougainvillea. It's just a little bougainvillea bonsai I'm starting. A little cutting I'm making a bonsai out of. And I just put it in there. And you see at the bottom what happens? Look at that. The roots are growing down into the rocks. Why are the roots growing down into the rocks? Because the bougainvillea, like every other plant, has semi-aquatic adventitious root systems. And so it's finding the water. The same way if you plant a tomato by a pond, it's going to grow into the pond. It's natural. And here's a bigger tomato right there, planted right in the bed. There's some guys right there I need to go ahead and I need to plant. Okay, so I wanted to show you that. Oh, and here's a habanero. There's a pepper right there. I grow those in there also. All right, let me flip this back. And then here's my grow tower. So water pumps up. It pumps out of the bottom here. It grows through this grow tower. I made these grow towers. Let me walk around the other side. I'll show you. So I made these grow towers. It was a long time ago. It was a project. I was having some fun. So basically the water pumps up these pipes. One flow of water goes over there. The other goes up to this pipe. One goes around the deck, where actually I made that out of PVC pipe. So I've got, I guess it's probably about 40 or so different areas on the pipes I can plant in. These are the grow beds right here. This was fun. I think I found an example on the internet and how to do these guys. These are basically rain channels, and I just basically drilled out a hole and used a piece of PVC and just made like a little plant, a little setup out of it. These are root systems from stuff from last year. I think that looks like that might have been mint, and I think this might have been mint and whatever. And so the water goes down through the top, trickles all the way down. You see it right there. It's just dripping down. And so basically it keeps everything in there nice and wet. This I've never grown. What is this? This is an eggplant. I've never grown an eggplant in aquaponics before. So I'm gonna give it a shot, see how well it does. And there's some cucumbers, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, let me go back. So anyway, the point I'm making is that, so I'll grow some things in aquaponics, mainly because I can give the plant all the nutrition it needs. How does a plant grow? Plant grows by what's called mycorrhizae fungi. Mycorrhizae fungi lives on the tips of the root system of the plant. Two ways to feed a plant. Through mycorrhizae fungi, which plants have been growing like this for, what's about 1 billion years? So it kind of sort of works. It's kind of working out. It's kind of doing a pretty good job. The other way is dumb farmer, or no, dumb human. Dumb human, that's the method. You take a farm field, and people get mad when I say this, but I'm just keeping it real and be honest with you. It's full of clay. They don't do crop rotation. They don't do the things that our ancestors used to do. So they take a bunch of cow dung and they put it all over the clay, because nothing will grow in the clay. And they churn it all up, the cow doo-doo and the clay. And they plant the plant in there. Very little mycorrhizae fungi. The root systems, even if there actually is mycorrhizae fungi there, it gets on the root systems, there's very little nutrition in the soil. Very little asteroid dust. You know how we talk about asteroid dust? All the minerals on this planet came from asteroids, right? They hit on the ground, microbiology break them down. And then the mycorrhizae fungi actually harvest the nutrients from other microbiology that live in the soil. I talked about Elaine Ingham a long time ago. She's a soil microbiologist from the Rodale Institute. If you ever want to get into growing, which I hope you all do, you need to look up Elaine Ingham, Ingham, from the Rodale Institute. She's a famous soil microbiologist. She goes all around the world and shows organic silly farmers and chemical farmers how to grow naturally, which then she'll get into the whole compost situation, which is why I do compost. Sometimes I'll make compost tea out of my, I'll make compost teas out of my compost. I don't like to buy compost because compost, one, everybody should be doing anyway. It's easy enough. You want to use it for so many different things, and it's important to get your hands in it because that helps you, and it's medicinal too. So anyway, let me go up and see some of the comments and questions. Was that about it? That's it. That's medicinal tomatoes. So you want to grow medicinal tomatoes. You want to grow medicinal mints and peppers and different things. You won't get a lot of production out of them if you live in a very cold place like I do. But what you get out of them will be precisely what the plant evolved to. And they're open pollinated. So again, my tomatoes are going to come up. I have no idea what these are. Some of them will come up stripy. Some of them will come up and they'll look like a Rutgers. Some of them will come up beefsteak. Some will come up, I thought they were determinate. Some will be indeterminate. Some won't be indeterminate. The beauty of that is what our bodies need. You know, the spoiled side of me likes tomato pie, and it likes the taste of Roma tomatoes. And I've got a son who likes only stripy tomatoes, pineapple tomatoes is his favorite because they taste real sweet, and he likes that sweet flavor. So I'll do that too. And plus, it's good to have those genetics around, because as everything's being open pollinated, you're getting the right genetics for your climate based on whatever's happening, whatever, you know. A good understanding of that is to look at bees, right? When you eat honey, you're supposed to eat honey from a local bee farmer. Why? Because there's a relationship between the bees, the pollen, And if you have allergies, the bees actually, when they pollinate and they create the honey, it gives you a certain immunity to a lot of that pollen. Don't know all the science behind it, but it's solid. It makes perfectly good sense because we evolved to do things that way. It's like people ask me, oh, I just got blurry. What is healthy? Healthy is eating food, plants, the way we always used to. All right, let me go back and see some questions. I don't know how many questions got saved. I have to go back and read some of them later. Yes, it is awesome. Growing is absolutely awesome. Go online for Seed Savers Exchange. Yes, absolutely. So you can go online. That's a better way to get started, to be honest with you, than buying packs of seeds, is to go to like a seed saver bank. Most areas you can go to, they'll have banks where you go drop your seeds off, pick some seeds up, and that way you're getting open pollinated seeds that are open pollinated in your particular area, in your growing environment. As a good example, if you grow in a place where it's high humidity, the mother plant passes on to the next plant the ability to grow in high humidity conditions better than what the original was. The original seed could have come from a more drier climate. So you want to have seeds that have the genetics for growing in your area, and you'll get a much better production. This is why farmers always used to save their seeds till big corporations bought all the farms and make them grow in dumb methods that make everybody sick. You said run your muck. That's why I listen to you. Let me see. Oh, Jeannie said she could listen to me all day. Oh, thank you. Dirty is productive. Dirty is everything. You got to get dirty. If you don't get dirty, you're going to be sick. That's just how life goes. We are dirty creatures. We are. One day we might be these little antibacterial things that live in sterile environments. Until then, that's going to kill you. Look at everybody. You know, and it's funny, people ask me sometimes, they'll say, well, do you want to live forever? Why you always eat healthy? Why? First of all, I don't always eat healthy. Number two, I don't want to live forever. But as long as I live, I want to be on 2 feet. I'm not interested in a whole bunch of drugs and, being a hospital experiment, being messed around. I'm going to be on 2 feet. I'm going to be strong. And as long as I live, and the only way you're going to do that is, one, you stay active and you eat healthy. You want to be strong. That's how you be strong. I'm making a huge salad tonight. I'm hungry for green radish tomatoes. Yes. Eat your salads, drink your smoothies. Norma said, ew, what's wrong, Norma? You didn't like the worm? The worm is good for you, girl. The worm breaks down your compost. Like when I I throw the bananas in there, the worm will eat the banana. It'll poop it out with a lot of microbiology and brown. And then the microbiology will eat the worm poo. And then the worm poo, and the microbiology will poop that out. And it's in a plant soluble form. So my plant will have selenium and magnesium and all the nitrate, all the different minerals, right? So there are 120 minerals, and they all came here from asteroids. Which is what, oh, that's the other thing. I don't know if I said it very clear. If you're going to do an aquaponic system, use sand. Use sand. If I didn't say S-A-N-D, sand. Why? Because sand has everything in it. Sand's got your calcium. It's got all your different particles of coral, and it's got all the trace elements that come here from the asteroids. 120 minerals are in the sand. The microbiology that comes out of the worm's butt breaks down the minerals, puts them in plant soluble forms, and then the plant can take it up. And that's the main thing behind aquaponics, is the plant can take in 120 different trace minerals. When I grow in my garden in the soil, I might only have 72, might have 47, might have 2. I want my plant to have the ability to order out for whatever minerals it needs through mycorrhizae fungi, so it can make all those compounds, make its own pesticides, call the predator pests. Those gases turn into compounds, and then I eat the plant, and then I don't die from cancer. It's an awesome thing. I know, Norma, sound nasty, but it makes sense. I'm planting some organic potatoes today. Couldn't find any seed potatoes since I'm starting so late. Wish me luck. You don't need no luck, Dottie. Girl, you already know what you're doing. You grow potatoes better than I do. Good for your immune system. Awesome for your immune system. And that's another reason why you get dirty. You get dirty, it helps you build up a lot of immunity to the things that are in your environment. Get your kids outside, get them in the mud. We grew up in swamps. It was the craziest thing. We grew up in swamps, and what did my uncle have? My uncle had there was a, what do they call it? Junkyard. You don't have those anymore. Kids don't have them. Junkyard. Our playground was like a junkyard. We go over to the junkyard. We go find things, get dirty, funky, and then get all cut up from like breaking things off of cars and stuff. And then we go swimming in the swamp. All that microbiology, all that. But we never got sick. It's probably why I'm healthy now, because I used to swim in swamps. Alligator, snapping turtles in there too. I'm on a diet detox, so it's all plants right now with a few legumes. Sans worm, sans worm, I'm not sure what you're saying there, Christine, but that's good. You want to detox, but also you want to eat more plants, as many as possible. Same way with picking blueberries early morning, eating them right off the vines. Yes, spot on, yum, absolutely. You want to eat your blueberries right off of the vine. You don't want to wait, because acids start to break the plant down. Like plants lose, what is the last study I read? I think it was on oranges. And it's like within an hour of the plant, the apple being picked, I think it was apple oranges, I forgot which one. Within an hour, half of its nutrition was already gone, right? Like you want the living enzymes that are on the plant, that are in the fruit the minute you eat it, because as mammals, that's what we did. Every now and then, yeah, sure, we'd eat an apple off of the ground that, fell on the ground, but most of the ones we ate, like watch the deer in your yard. The deer will eat a few off of the ground, but the deer will stand up and get an apple that's 7 foot up on the tree. Pay attention to the mammals, because they know what they're doing. We're the dummies that don't. My nose always itches when I'm in the garden with muddy fingers, hands, dirt will fall off my face. It's on you. Yeah, Sandy, got to get dirt on your face. It's important, y'all. It's healthy. Don't be sterile. Alien information. Yeah, Elaine, it's always about some aliens. It always is. I think when the aliens put us here, they put us in a Garden of Eden for a reason. They didn't put us in an apartment in New York City. The aliens could have done that. They got the technology, but they put us in a garden instead with all these natural plants. And then they told us to eat from the garden. And then when we did bad things, they could spank us. They didn't spank us. They just said, get the hell out the garden and you won't live forever. A whole lot of information in that. End stage cancer, not feast. Effing autocorrect. Okay. Well, Christine, if that is what's going on, you definitely want to eat healthy. Anybody who has cancer, I always tell them, read the China study. Don't wait. Don't wait for the translation. Don't wait for anything. You need to go on to Amazon. Oh, gosh, I said Amazon. One time Amazon might be a good thing. You need to go to a bookstore. Get the China study. The first 25 pages will tell you everything that you need to know. Talk to the garden with much love and giggles. Singing is highly encouraged. And they do not laugh at you. Carolyn, you're right about that. I talk to my plants all the time. But even more important than talking to them is just being around plants. I can't tell you why. It sounds crazy. But just being around all these dudes, I come up and I look at them. Sometimes I talk to them. It just makes me feel good. See some basil. I was replanting some basil. There's some of that basil right there. I'm looking in the camera, so I don't know. I think those are some different peppers, Peter peppers and jalapeno peppers. And then what's over there? I think there's some succulents and some other stuff. And so I always got a bunch of stuff around me. I always get around your plants. They make you happy. You make them happy. Y'all feed each other, because we grew up. We're not indoor creatures. We are still outdoor creatures. We've been outdoor creatures for the longest time. Stacy said tomatoes are horrible. Don't eat them. Stacy, you stop playing. Stacy's over here trolling. Is aquaponics with fish? Fish poo feeds plants. Yes, aquaponics is with fish, but the fish poo, actually, I've ran aquaponic systems, Christine, without fish. Fish are not the key component. They are a component. They're not the key component. The key component, actually, to aquaponics, outside of what people would tell you, it's actually microbiology. Microbiology is actually the key to aquaponic systems. I've run them completely without fish at all. The microbiology, they preserve our life. They are everything. Worm goo, grab some hand sanitizer. Stacy, I'm not grabbing any hand sanitizer. What fish do I use? I like to use koi. I like koi and goldfish. If it's a small setup, I use goldfish. If it's a bigger one, I use koi. Mainly because I'm a vegetarian. If you're not a vegetarian, most people use tilapia. What you want to do is you want to use a schooling fish. A fish that doesn't mind being in smaller spaces. There are certain fish that live in the ocean who decided that they want space. They don't want to be around other fish. They're not schooling. They don't want to be in a pond. Very small fish like this setup right here. I wouldn't put koi in this one. This one's too little. I eat from about 3 different aquaponic systems. I have a bigger one that I have koi in. This one I wouldn't put any. I gotta drink some coffee. Hold on. I wouldn't put anything more than a goldfish in. Sometimes you gotta look in your coffee because there'd be a mosquito in there. Stacy, it's a mosquito. I'm gonna drink this, girl. Watch this. It's medicinal. Medicinal mosquitoes. So it depends on what you want. I'm a vegetarian. I like those type of fish because they're pretty. They get bigger. I have a bigger pond I can put them in when they grow up. If you're a meat eater and you want to eat the tilapia, it's healthier to eat the tilapia from your pond than the tilapia from the grocery store because they're going to come from a very unhealthy aquatic system. The other thing about aquaponics, if you have a pond at home, you actually want to have a healthier pond. Don't go to the pond store and buy a pond filter. It's stupid. It's dumb. They don't work. It's just, trust me. Put an aquaponic system on your pond. Have everything filtered through the grow beds. The water will be natural. You don't need to use treatments. You won't have fish kills. The fish will be happier. They'll grow. It's like an aquatic stream. Make sure your grow bed has lots of rocks because the key to the solution and healthiness is microbiology. The microbiology actually filter the parasites and different things out the water, make it for healthy conditions for a fish. All right, that's it. Let me see. I was frozen. I was stuck. You lost me. I'm back. Something. Salam from Palestine. Welcome, brother. You found me. Alicia. I didn't know I was lost, girl. Patsy. I don't like tomatoes, but have no idea what medicinal tomatoes are for. Okay. So when you put the word medicinal, Patsy, in front of something, to me, this is my definition. It means that the thing is natural. It means that it's growing in a natural environment the same way it's been growing for 1 billion years. It has access to the 120 trace minerals. It has access to lots of soil microbiology, and it has mycorrhizae fungi growing in its root system. And that's just the extent of what science knows now. I'm sure in 10 years we'll realize there are probably 22 different new components to that. But growing something medicinal in a way that complements your body, your genetics, and the microbiology in you is growing a plant that's natural. You will not find that anywhere in any grocery store I've ever been in. If your neighbor grows something, they might. But, you know, that's when you grow something natural. That's what you want to do. Watch out for bougainvillea. I recommend keeping them in a pot. I love bougainvillea. In fact, some of my bonsai are bougainvillea. I love bougainvillea bonsai. I've got a bunch of them. I don't like the bushes, though. I don't like, they're great for hedges if you live south. If you live in the subtropics, you live in Florida, different places, bougainvillea are great. Excuse me. They're great for hedges because they got big, nasty thorns on them. But I love them. They make beautiful bonsai. I would never deal with one as an actual hedge. It'll keep the deer out. It'll keep the groundhogs and everybody out of your yard. But if you ever got to trim it or cut it, you're going to regret life. But they have the most beautiful flower. They have they call it the paper flower. And that's why, do I have any blooming? Oh, you know what? I don't have any. I post them. You can look on my page. I always got time. Every time they bloom, I take a picture. I don't think I have any blooming right now. I would talk to my plants as a child. Ellen, because you're a human being. Always talk to your plants. This is freaking fascinating. Thank you, Alicia. What else we got? Sometimes I'll catch myself doing it. I talk to them. I sing to them. People piss me off online. Sometimes I'll go walk and I'll just sit there with my plants. I sleep. I have a jungle at my house. That's all. I don't know what it is. Ellen says, I love eggplant. I do too, Ellen. I hope they can grow in aquaponic systems. I pretty much grown everything in an aquaponic system I can think of. Of course, outside of desert plants, you know, succulents and cactus. Everything that I've grown in an aquaponic system works really, really well. I got a freaking fig tree. I threw the cuttings out into the compost, but it's indoors. It's in front of the window. The thing is 8 feet tall. And it grew 6 of those feet in the last 3 weeks. It's insane. It's growing like a freaking root, but it's in a pond where it's fed from a pond that has a lot of big koi in it. So it grows really, really fast fig. The only thing that doesn't grow well, I can tell you, in aquaponics are plants that like a more acidic soil. Your berries don't like it too much, and citrus I can't get to grow at all. So if you grow citrus in aquaponics, you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. I think basically, theoretically, it's because the pH required for the berry plants and your citrus, they require a very acidic, aquatic conditions that that will kill the fish. And so, in order to have living fish, you can't have it. You can't have high acidic, loving plants and those fish together. Although there was some interesting, I was reading a paper once. People like to call me when I'm talking. I'm sorry about that. I read a paper once and it was talking about how there are some plants that actually can develop such a big collection of mycorrhizae fungi on their root systems where they actually have gotten plants that like a very acidic pH soil growing with aquaponics and fish. I've never been able to do it. So let me see. And my aquaponic system is natural. If you go look online, sometimes people will use like iron supplements and different things that they'll put in there. I don't like to put anything in mine. When I first started, I listened to stuff like that. But after doing it for so many years, I realized if you actually get good sand, pea gravel, river rock in your grow beds, and you have the flood and drain grow beds that you're growing from, you'll have the aquatic conditions you need to grow really, really well in aquaponics. The other thing for aquaponics, I'll say is, I don't like to keep my bed super clean. Like this one, I didn't clean. It had lettuce all on the top of it. I'm not lettuce. It had leaves all on the top of it. I'm gonna leave them there because the worms are gonna break those down anyway. And again, it adds to it. Like, you know what the purpose of a tree? So I got this big tree above my aquaponic system. The purpose of a tree is it has very deep root systems. They go way down underground, where there are soil, there are minerals from an asteroid that hit a long time ago. Tomato roots can't go that deep. Tomato roots are only going to go till they hit clay. They hit clay, they stop there. But the tree can go way down deep, grab nutrients from asteroids that hit 8 billion years ago, take up those nutrients, they end up in their leaves and they drop them, they land on the soil, and then guess what? Now your tomatoes have access to them. That's why it's always good to have trees around. Trees serve a purpose, and so I don't mess with those leaves. There might be some selenium deep down in there, so on the top of the grow bed. After a while, like after this is the second year on this grow bed, I haven't cleaned it. I'll probably have to clean it next year. Cleaning it is I just take the rocks, wash them in terms of just running a lot of water in there, washing out some excess soil, because after a while they'll get real compacted. I don't know what question I was answering on that. Let me see. You miss having a garden, Alice. And that's why I kind of showed this system. It's a really small system. I'll walk you through it in the future. I try to get it cleaned up. It's nasty and a mess. And I'm just starting to get it planted out today. I just got some cucumbers, peppers, other things going in it. But you can do that in a very small space. And I'm showing this intentionally. This is the smallest grow bed I have. It's like, it might be 3.5 feet, maybe 3 feet by 2 feet. It's a very small bed and a very small pond, but it can go on a very small deck. And then with the grow towers, I can grow a lot more, which is why I like to grow vertically. But even when I grow vertically, it's just not an aquatic system. It's not just a raft system or aeroponics. I always want a grow bed attached because you want that extra surface area where you have lots and lots of microbiology that's seeded. That's what makes these things healthy. It's all about being natural. Angie said, my garden is beautiful. I always appreciate your positive attitude. Thank you, Angie. I don't know if it's beautiful. It's a little bit of a mess right now. I've been real busy this year. I'm actually getting started kind of late with some things, but I just saw all those tomatoes come up this morning, so I figured I need to go ahead. Well, I saw them a few days ago, but I figured I need to plant them. We got good tomatoes in Arkansas. You know, most of my family's from Arkansas, from my mother's side. Whole lot of family down there. In fact, that's where I learned actually how to first get in the garden. It was my grandfather down in a little town called El Dorado, Arkansas. Let me see. Y'all know that GMO foods are sterile, right? How atrocious can it get? Yeah, you want to stay away from anything sterile. We're not sterile creatures. Alice said a healthy biome. Yes, we absolutely got to have a healthy biome. Picking too. I'm getting to learn to pick veggies from my dad this summer. Kimchi, mild style. Yes, you want to get out there, learn how to pick your vegetables, when to pick them. how to grow them, how to save your seeds, all very important information, and to actually grow them yourself. Um, doesn't every living thing poop? Carolyn. I don't know. I think so. Think so. Pretty sure. I think if you didn't poop and you ate things, you'd probably blow up. Did you know that a snail poops on his head? Craziest thing. I don't know why I thought of that, Carolyn. It just came to mind. But a snail, its anus is up here. It's some of your politicians' anus is up here too. But that's another whole story. Um, I'm a toddler, soilist. Gots to get lots dirtier. Yes, get your kids in the dirt. Absolutely get dirty. Just harvested. Okay, now. And spinach, kale, greens, beets, tops, chives, longevity, spinach, and banana, and apple. I made a smoothie. Go on, Brother Rick, knocking it out. That's why you're going to live forever, man. Strong dude. That's what you got to do. You pick it fresh, pick it right out your garden, throw it right in the smoothie. And hopefully it sounds like you live in a warm place where you're way ahead of us over here in the cold climate. Worm butt. I miss the swamps of Norfolk. Yeah, Dick, I miss the swamps. The swamps I used to walk in, they were in Maryland, but I wouldn't do it now. It was when I was a kid, Dick, it was like we had immune systems that were like really, really working. Nowadays, like I know I'm very healthy. I know my immune system works well, but I'm not going in anaerobic water today. Plus, because I was a kid, Dick, I wasn't that smart. We used to swim with alligator snapping turtles. They weren't alligator, but they were snapping turtles. I mean, these things were like 3 feet. And as kids, we weren't smart enough to realize that the little baby alligator snapping turtles we found in the swamps we were swimming in with no shoes actually grow into big ones. We'd see them on the side of the road 3 feet, and we never connected the dots. I shouldn't have any toes on my feet, but I think turtles, like anything, they don't want to be bothered with us. They're like, oh, here come the kids in the pond, and they swim away. Nature's not trying to eat us, guys. I don't think we're food for much out there anymore. Like even alligators don't really even want to mess with us. Let me see. Keep going down. Veggies, not effing done. Autocorrect. I'm done. Oh, veggies, not. Oh, okay. Autocorrect. I hate autocorrect. VTT. It makes me sound illiterate. I'm half illiterate. Not totally illiterate, but I'm half illiterate, Christine. That's when I post something. The grammar. I always got my grammar police. They're just waiting on me. They just like, woo! That's not there. It's there. You're supposed to use there, there. And I'm like, there's 3 different kinds of it theirs. I'm thinking. I don't have time. Think about what kind of there it is. I have to go back and correct VTT. I expect VTT to get it. Y'all want the automation and the robots to run the world, so VTT should know what it's doing. Hi, thanks for talking about this. Just got there. Yes, Cindy. All right. Well, you can go back to the beginning. I was just basically showing how I grow my tomatoes. I save my seeds. I plant them in groups and pots. It's just real passive for me. And then now, like I guess I probably planted about 36 of them. I got about 12 more to plant, and it might take 20 minutes. Put them in the ground, and I forget about them. That's the other reason I like aquaponics, though, is when I put in an aquaponics system, I can plant it and forget it. There's nothing I got to do. There are no pests that actually thrive in aquaponic systems. And if I do I saw some white flies the other day. I saw some white flies on somebody. I don't know who it was, but they're going to get dealt with because I've got, I release ladybugs, and I have, praying mantis. That's where I get the pictures from. They're always in my garden. I take pictures of them. I post them. I get all excited and stuff. They're going to eat the white flies and aphids. They can do what they want now. The mealy bugs. I like hibiscus. Mealy bugs always come in on those guys. They can do whatever they want right now. They land on the plant. The plant says, I'm going to get you. They take the selenium because they're growing in a natural grow bed, where they have access to the 120 different trace minerals so they can make their pesticide. They'll make, and that's why you want to have, I keep saying it wrong. I think it's entomology. That's the study of bugs. You want to make sure you have natural bugs. There are no pests. Let me clarify. People say, oh, well, the garden pest. There's no such thing as a garden pest. The aphids, the white flies, and the mealy bugs are there to eat something that you shouldn't. If the plant is the weakest plant in the garden, they're supposed to eat it. That plant will not make a natural tomato or a healthy apple for you. So all of these things work together. It's like the whole ecosystem knows what it's doing because it developed this way. Those bugs come into the farm because you're growing in a way you're not supposed to. You're growing in soil you're not supposed to. The plant is really unhealthy and the bug needs to destroy it. That's what it's there for. Hang on, I got to plug in. I didn't expect to go this long. I'm still sniffling. I've got we had like really bad pollen. And then the good thing is it rained the other day and it saved me, but my body's still pushing through all this pollen. Let's go down and see if there are any more questions. Any good dirt secrets? Dirt is terrible here in New Mexico. Yes, Dick. Look up Elaine Ingham. I swear. Let me say. So, if there is any queen of organic growing, her name is Elaine Ingham. I barely ever go out on a ledge this far. There isn't anybody on this planet. There's 7 billion people on this planet. The smartest one when it comes to growing naturally, her name is Elaine Ingham. And I think she's done work in New Mexico also. Look her up. She's actually got a lot of lectures on the internet. She has a lot of talks about how to build soil. You can build soil in the desert. It's all about moisture. It's all about microbiology. And it's all about compost tea. She'll show you how to make the compost tea. She'll show you how to test your soil. She'll show you what microscope to get to make sure that those communities are coming back. So, Brother Dick, definitely check out Elaine Ingham. I am a professional person, meaning that when a topic comes up, I want to hear from the professional. I don't want to hear from somebody guessing. Elaine Ingham is a soil microbiologist. Dig this. She used to work for Monsanto. She is everything. Check her out. I'll post a link if you can't find her. But she should be all over the internet. She even teaches classes. I think she even has classes. They fly her all over the world to show people how to convert their conventional and organic farms to natural farms, and most of which is building the soil. All right. And sanitize the crap will kill you. Yep, you sanitize too much, you're going to die. We're not sanitized creatures. We don't live on a sanitized planet. You want strong immune systems. Any more dirty secrets? Miko, I got a bunch of them. I'm a bit of a plant nut. I got a bunch of them. I just wanted to kind of keep this one simple, stupid. How I do my tomatoes. Tomatoes are the easiest thing to grow. If you guys don't grow anything this year, grow tomatoes, save your seeds. Grow peppers, save your seeds. Grow cucumbers. Those are the easiest things on the planet. The only thing that might be even a little easier than those guys is basil. Grow it and eat it. I'm going to walk you through my setup, Brother Dick. I'm a little embarrassed right now because it's filthy. I'll walk you through all of it. Let me get it all cleaned up first. Otherwise, it won't be a good example. Let me see. What else we got? I used to use the pond water to water the garden. Missed that. Carolyn, that's another good thing you do with your aquaponics system, is water your garden. So I have what's called a swirl filter in my system downstairs. It's actually an indoor system. And the swirl filter, the swirl filter, the way it works is just basically a big tub. It's a big 50-gallon, what do they call them? A food grade barrel. And the water comes in the side, clean water rise to the top, heavy soils in the water fall to the bottom. So everything that falls to the bottom is all the stuff I want in my garden. And I want to get it out of the pond, right? Because big koi eat way too much. Actually, I think you can see my aquaponics. I think I made an earlier video, but I'll show it to you again. And so those heavy solids, that's what I want in my garden. And now those are the excess nitrates I want out of the pond, the stuff that the worms, I don't know that they'll have time to get to fast enough. And I have this, and I'll show you this swirl filter. There's designs on the internet for that too. And I just have a little, a valve on the bottom of that tank. And anytime I want to water my garden, I just open the valve and I'll spray all that nitrate all over the garden. And that actually acts as compost tea too. What you're doing is you're taking all that microbiology, the excess minerals, the solids, all the stuff that's in the pond, and you're spraying it out over your garden. The microbiology are having a feast. They're eating it, and the healthier they are, then obviously the mycorrhizae fungi can eat them, and the plants are healthier. So that's why, like down around the Mississippi, if you live next to a river system, what the farmers would do, they would literally fight, and they used to kill to get a farm that's in a floodplain. Why? Because when the river overflows, it flows all that minerals, all the asteroid dust, all the nitrate onto their fields, and they would see great production for almost a decade after it. So definitely, if you live on a lake, as long as nobody's spraying anything in that lake and there's no pesticides in there, I'd get the water tested first. But if you live near like a lake or a river or something like that, you want to do some irrigation out of that lake, and that'll avoid you from spraying cow dung all over the field. If you're a cow dunger, I'm not saying anything about you. And everyone's got a different way of going about it. I just find it's more productive for me. It's healthier. You don't have any trouble with... what is that called? What is that called? Where you, every now and then, E. coli. You don't get E. coli from aquaponics, right? Because it's coming from the water. You're not getting anything that has feces. When you have feces on the farm, every now and then, a little piece of feces is on a glove. It's in the cart. It's in a basket, and I don't know, sometimes it gets on the fruit. They'll use the basket or whatever, and they'll have a big E. coli warning. They'll recall letter, stuff like that. You don't have to worry about that. And that's why I prefer to use very little animal dung as possible. It's always there. It's always going to be there. If you got a dog, deer, whatever, you're always going to have it. But you don't need to have massive amounts of quantities of it. Once I got stuck on the road, going 25 miles an hour on a country road behind a manure spitter. I think if you spend enough time in a car behind a manure sprayer, you'll understand why you don't want to eat food that's grown in that stuff. But I have a friend who swears by, if you do want to go that route though, I have a friend who swears up and down by horse manure, that apparently horse manure is healthier than cow manure. It might have something to do with the cows probably have more pharmaceuticals pumped in them than the horses do. People tend to love horses more. They take better care of them than the cows. Cows don't eat their natural diet. More people with horses do eat their natural diet. I think it might be related to that. But anyway, if you want to go that route, he swears by horse manure. And he told me, I remember one of my favorite farmers, he told me, and then I probably talked to 5 or 6 people who said the same thing. They said, you're not going to beat horse manure if you want to go that route. Tomatoes and cucumbers are good together. Yes, they are. What plant are you talking about? I'll show you, Michelle. You can see the beginning of the video. I won't bore everybody and go back through it. It's I was growing tomatoes. I was just showing them how I save seeds, how I plant them in a big pot. I mean, I do everything that way. I'll just throw them in a bigger pot of something else. I throw them in with my avocado, and then I do that because it allows for the strongest seeds to come up first, and then I can just take my shovel. I'll scoop them all out, and I'll have 50 seeds or 50 seedlings. I take the biggest ones, I plant them. The smallest ones, I throw them in the aquaponics system. Some I'll just stick in the dirt somewhere and see if they come up. But it allows for that genetic expression to continue. I do the same thing with papayas. When you eat your papaya, I'll take the seeds and I'll just throw them in a big clump of seeds. I've got bougainvillea in the bed right here, and I know they're coming up. Let me see if I can show it to you. I grow a lot of bougainvillea because I like the bonsai. Let me see if I can flip this around. And I'll throw them in a clump. And the reason why I throw them in a clump, I can't zoom in. Let me take you down there. And so all those guys right there, I'm pretty sure those are papayas. I don't know. Actually, now I think about it, I'm not sure if those are papayas or if those are... What is that throwing? I threw in papayas in here, and I threw. I know it. I know what it is. I gotta plug back in. It is gonna shut off. It was papayas and the Aztec herb. That was the other one I threw in there. Another thing I like to do that makes things easy for me as I get old and I don't remember things so much is I'll take a picture of it. Like when I plant something in like a big clump like that, I'll take a picture of what I'm planting and where I'm planting it, and I can just go back on my phone and see what I put in. And so I plant them in clumps like that because when they come up, I know it's something significant. I know it's not what people call weeds, and I'll know that it's something that I want to plant in the ground, and I can scoop them up without causing any problems. So I like to grow a lot of different things together. That's what I was talking about, tomatoes. Medicinal tomatoes, growing medicinally versus growing chemically. And you can grow medicinally in semi-aquatic situations with aquaponics, or you can grow in soil. Don't believe the hype. Do not believe the hype. Another thing Elaine Ingham says, I don't know if Brother Dick is still around. One of the things she likes to do, look, all my friends alive right now. I'm getting notices. It has to, she would ask a question to the tomato farmer. She would say, how deep do tomato roots grow? And a lot of times they answer the question, say, oh, tomato roots, they get about 8 inches. Sometimes some varieties can get 12 inches. And she'd say, wrong. Tomato roots will continue growing till they hit clay. And this is what they mean when they say, have you ever heard somebody say tomatoes don't like wet feet? Or if they say peppers don't like wet feet, what they're saying is those plants don't like to be in anaerobic conditions. They don't have the genetics to fight off a lot of anaerobic bacteria that live in anaerobic water. If your garden has 8 inches of garden soil, and because if you dig down, when you dig down, you'll be in soil and then you hit clay. You know what clay looks like. When you hit clay, that's as deep as the roots are going to grow on most of the plants in your garden. Because once they hit, not your perennials, but your annuals, they'll grow to that level, they'll hit and they'll stop. Because that's where when it rains, all the water goes down through the soil layer, it hits the clay and it stops right there. That water goes anaerobic. Any plant that has roots down to that anaerobic level, those roots are going to die. That's how it's supposed to go. So if you have a farm and your clay is down 12 inches, you'll have tomatoes that grow 12-inch worth roots. If you have 8 inches of soil, you'll have 8-inch roots. If you have 4 feet of soil, you will have 4 feet of tomato roots. There were stories of, and that's one thing Elaine Ingham talks about. She talks about how to take your clay layers deeper and deeper and deeper. Clay is broken down by microbiology, not by tillers. Bad idea. As much as possible, you want to have a no-till garden. There's so much I don't have time to go through all of it. Sometimes I say too much. I don't want to bore you guys. But the tomato roots will go deep as your clay layers are. The more compost tea you put on your garden, the deeper that clay is going to get because microbiology break the clay down. What is the clay? The clay is the same thing as the sand, asteroid dust and minerals. And that's what this microbiology that comes out of the compost teas actually eat for dinner. So the more you spray on your garden, the more they eat the clay layers. Year after year, your soil gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. The deeper your soil gets, the healthier your plants get. The healthier your plants get, the healthier you get. When the settlers came here from the different places they came from, the colonizers, they talked about how on the open plain fields, the soil layers were 12 feet deep. And they talked about the soil layers. In some areas, they couldn't find the bottom of the soil. They could never find the clay. So, I mean, think about that in terms of, we used to eat tomatoes that had roots that had indeterminate depths, right? They were basically tomato trees, massive tomato bushes with just endless amounts of soil and microbiology. And now we eat tomatoes that have 8 inches of soil or in your garden, somebody's garden. And, from a farm, it's basically no soil. It's just clay and cow dung. All right. Anyway, we'll get down to the bottom. Some farmers say soil provides more nutrients than water. Is that true? The nutrients are in soil and in water. I don't really get in those debates because it's like a ridiculous, endless debate. No soil is created equally. No water is created equally. So you can have a soil that, has 120 trace minerals, very healthy, hard to beat. You can also have soil that's cow dung and clay, has no minerals, so in terms of nutrients and health, you obviously want to be in the soil that's natural, which is why I tell people don't put pesticides, don't put herbicides, and don't put fertilizers on your garden. You want it all natural. Same thing with an aquaponic system. You can grow an aquaponic system that's just purely a raft system, which unfortunately most of the aquaponic basil you'll get in your grocery stores and lettuce, they're just grown in raft systems. There's very little microbiology. There's very little minerals. Most of it's probably hydroponic, not aquaponic anyway. And so I like to grow. Anytime I do an aquaponic system, I always make sure there is a soil rock bed so I know that it has the minerals are in there. I'll let people debate about whether, because farmers are farmers, Cindy. They've been debating this stuff for years. I don't get into those debates. Wherever I grow, I just make sure it has the best propensity for the most minerals possible. There are a lot of citrus trees in Tucson too. Must be the climate. Yeah, Tucson is great for citrus. California, citrus actually like it real dry. I probably have about 50 citrus trees. I probably have about 50 of them. I kind of suck with when I started though. I started with 3 different varieties. I think it was a lime, an orange, and a lemon. And they cross-pollinate. I save the seeds sometimes, but I probably should have started with a diverse community. I want some clementines, and I want some wild citrus. That's what I really want. I want to find some wild citrus to cross-pollinate, because again, that'll be healthy citrus. Right now, I don't think I'm growing healthy citrus. I'm growing citrus. It's not what I would call medicinal citrus, right? It's really hard to do it in here in Pennsylvania, and I've already got a jungle in my house. China Study is $1.99. Oh my gosh, Elaine, that is awesome, off the hook. That I believe in that book so much, Elaine, I used to buy it and give it away. If you know anybody that has cancer, give them that book. If you know anybody that you love, give them that book. For Christmas, give them that book. If it's not Christmas, give them that book. I can't say enough about Dr. Colin Campbell and the studies he's done. He is freaking phenomenal. Another thing we used to do, we stopped doing for your garden, if you don't do, if you have a fire, one thing, somebody can post it. I forgot his name. It'll come back to me over a while. He is the owner of another thing to rebuild soil, or to add more minerals to your soil. Ash. There was he started the Longevity Company. I forgot his name. It might be Willis or Williams. Somebody will find it. But what he explained is that we used to always have fires. We would have a fire. We would take the ash and throw it in our garden. We didn't know what that did, but the carbon, which, if you're familiar with the Mayans and the Aztecs, they used to do that too, slash and burn. So what is that? What is, the carbon from the fire, the ash? It's the minerals that the trees pulled from deep in the layers in the earth, right? So the roots go way down from trees. They go down, my gosh, I mean, some trees have roots that go down hundreds of feet, right? The grapevines in France, you've got roots that are coming out of the ceiling of the cave, hundreds of feet underneath the vineyards. And so they're pulling all of these minerals from deep, deep down underground. You burn the log in the fire. When you burn the log in the fire, the minerals are still there. You take that and you throw it out on your garden. You're reintroducing those minerals from those asteroids to your farm or your garden. And that was one of his philosophies, which which made a lot of sense, is that human health took a major dive when we stopped putting ash on our farms. We stopped putting ash on the garden, wood ash. I forgot his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Somebody remember his name. So it's a great theory, but that's another thing you can do to rebuild your soil. You want to make sure you get the minerals out there, and the trees provided that escalator, right, for pulling all those minerals from deep within the ground. I live on clay soil. My gardens are huge due to amending, canned everything from potato to bean, every plant, veggie, Sandy, I love the sound of your garden. I absolutely, you sound like you live on a very human place. I used to have a lot of land. I don't have as much land as I used to. So I actually grow in about 3 different places. But this deck here, it's actually, I won't go through the details of it, but I'm here every day, all day, so I can eat from it. So when I make my smoothies, I think I posted a bunch of smoothies before. I grow mint in the aquaponic system I showed you earlier. A lot of spearmint because it makes it through the winter really well here. And I want the natural enzymes from the leaves early on, right? So when I make a tea or when I make a smoothie, I always grab a couple leaves off of the spearmint. I throw it in there. Some of the smoothie videos I made last year, when I did it was when I did the okra smoothie for fun. I grabbed stevia from this system too. So stevia is another one. Oh my gosh. Stevia is like basil in the aquaponic system. It grows like a freaking weed. You can't stop it. The stevia leaves get to be massive. Yes, stevia is not a white powder you buy in the grocery store. That's called processed stevia. I'm not even sure if it's stevia. What you want is you want to grow your stevia. It's a plant, grows just like basil, loves water, loves aquaponics, can grow in the soil. And it's the sugar leaf. It's the very, very sweet leaf, but it's not sugar. We eat too much sugar, and what you want to do is replace the sugar in your diet. Sugar's a carcinogen. You don't want sugar. You can use stevia in your baked goods. Drying your stevia grown in an aquaponic system, and even in the ground, it's very easy. Drying stevia. I take it. I think I talked about it before. I take it. I put it out in the sun on a sunny day after, like 8 hours, all day basically for the most part. If it's a hot day, depends. It all dries up by the end of the day. Then I take all those dried leaves. I put them in my coffee grinder, my coffee bean grinder. I grind it up into a powder, and I put it in a little sugar jar. Like my kids, I think grandma might have spoiled them, with that. But my kids don't even know what a sugar jar is. I grew up and we always had a sugar jar. We don't even buy sugar in the house. The only thing I don't like stevia in is coffee. Coffee, it ruins. I'm bad when it comes to coffee. I don't like stevia in coffee, but I'm working on it. Stevia tea is delicious. Alligator snapping turtles will take a digit if you're not careful. Yeah, Alicia, they will. We used to play with them all the time as kids, but we were rough back then. Pickled foods are beneficial, very beneficial, Jeannie. And mainly, and I think about it too. It's like, why? My mind, it always does this thing, and I try to think about, well, why is it good? I imagine, like even wines and stuff are good. I imagine that if you are the healthiest in the herd, you're the biggest, strongest deer or mammal. You get to the tree first, you get it fresh. Or in bad times, you can't get it fresh. And so there's a lot of fruits on the ground. Uh-oh, I'm going blurry. A lot of fruits on the ground. We still ate those fruits. We just didn't eat them as much as we ate the fresh fruits right off of the branch. So there's definitely medicinal benefits to things that are aged too, like kombucha. Oh my goodness, when I was in Belize, oh my gosh. There was a guy down there. He made the best kombucha I ever had in my life. He lived in a little yurt down there. Oh my goodness. I'm straight, but if I weren't straight, I'd have married that guy. Like the kombucha was that freaking good. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So, but there are medicinal things to all of that. Kombucha is great. I got a lot of friends who make kombucha. I've never made it. My sister makes it all the time. I drink it anytime I'm coming around. She's like, kombucha. I don't have a choice. I have to drink it. She's my sister, But those things are healthy too. We caught huge snapping turtles fishing, look like monsters. Yeah, they are monsters. Gardening is therapeutic. Yes, Dick, I'm like you, brother. I'd live in the garden. I take my shoes off. I ground. I walk around in the soil, get it through between my toes. It's kind of freaky. Makes you feel good to walk in the garden. I used to sit in the garden and work. When I used to work from home with corporate America, I go sit in my garden with my laptop. I have meetings right out in the garden. I didn't care. People heard the birds chirping and stuff. They were in the office. I didn't care. Listen, the corporate America is trying to kill you. You got to have your escape. And gardening is definitely an escape for me. But I think it is for most people. But you got to be exposed to it again. Natural tomatoes is the short answer, Keith. Okay, Dottie. Okay, good. You're answering questions for me. Thank you, Dottie. Eating raw, freshly picked off the vine. Yes, Sandy. And if you want to get your kids started, I tell everybody, start them with... sugar snap peas. I didn't do them this year. Sugar snap peas. Getting kids growing is important. They like really high, things high in sugar. Snap peas are delicious. Oh my gosh. I mean, sugar snap peas, they do taste like sugar, like literally eating them right off the vine. Your kids will go nuts. They're like candy, but you got to start them when it's cold. And they come up, just eat them right off the vine. Jeannie says, I hate mealy bugs. I do too, but Jeannie, mealy bugs have a purpose. They're in the environment for a purpose. If a plant can have tons of mealy bugs on it, it means that plant's not healthy. The mealy bugs are supposed to eat it. That's why like I said, I release my predators, and the plants that are supposed to make it. The ones that aren't supposed to make it, don't make it. That's why I want to grow things through modern agribusiness, I guess you would call it, so I'll go buy a seedling and I'll plant it, but as much as possible, I'll grow with seeds I save, and I don't want production from them. I want quality. And to me, that's medicinal, is being patient, right? Tomatoes, like I said, the tomato in the aquaponic system, I'll show you when it really gets big, but I'll get 60 tomatoes off of one. In Pennsylvania, that's pretty daggone good for one plant. And so I'll use that for production, but what I'll use medicinally to make sure that I eat as much as possible, raw, fresh, it won't even see a refrigerator, it'll go right in my mouth, are the ones that I grow for medicinal reasons. I hate squash bugs, Brother Dick, but they have a purpose too, y'all. They have a purpose. The only thing that I hate for the most part, Dick, though, is slugs. Slugs, I can't figure out, and I know there's a reason. They're there for a reason. I don't know what it is, but the slugs, they love stevia. They love basil. I have slugs that actually ate tomato leaves, and I'd never seen that before. I have slugs that ate cucumbers. But slugs, there's a good way to get around slugs. Slugs don't like salty water. And so what I'll do with my plant trays, I'll sometimes, not my plant trays, my plant benches, I'll lift them up. They're just racks. They're just like, the cedar rack behind me. It's a steel rack. What I'll do is I have basil up there. The slugs will climb to the top. You see the tray behind me, the rack behind, they'll climb to the top and they'll eat the leaves. And once they find it, they'll actually live in the bottom of the pot and keep at nighttime, they actually climb out of the bottom of the pot and they'll eat the leaves. So what I'll do is I'll put the legs of the rack in water. I'll just get a tray, put it underneath there, and I'll fill the tray with water. And for two reasons. One, slugs hate salt water. They won't go anywhere near it, which means they can't get up there. I'll go, look at the bottom of the pots and look for slug slime. Look for slug slime. And if you see slug slime, you know slugs are in that pot. Once you clear them all out there, the bugs can't get to it. The other reason I like that is for ants. Ants don't swim. They don't like water. And if you're actually growing on a tray, like this is why I love these steel trays. You can get them at the big box stores. I wouldn't recommend it. I recommend you make your own. Don't spend money at the big box store if you can prevent it. But slugs have a purpose. I just don't know what it is. I just want them off of my plants. The only thing that I keep away from them. Although I think I ate a slug last year. I did a video. I made a video, and I think I was making a smoothie, and I put a what was it, romaine lettuce, and I just grabbed a bunch of romaine. I was showing people, you don't have to wash it. You don't have to wash it. Threw it in the smoothie, grinded it all up, drank the smoothie. It tasted a little funny, and I realized I think a day or two later that romaine was infested with like little baby slugs, and so I wasn't vegetarian that day. I was not vegetarian that day. Dottie Elaine Ingham, is that the correct? Yes, that's exactly her name. Elaine Ingham, Ingham. She is off the hook. She is a queen. I'm telling you, the woman is an angel. Her studies are phenomenal. Praying mantis will look you right in the eye. Yes, they will, Eileen. They're like little aliens. I love them. They're little aliens. They keep bugs off my plants. All right, been natural for 30 years, growing delicious. Elaine Ingham. I think Kate just posted the spelling. Elaine Ingham. Oh, I'm way up in the comments. Let me go down. I'm trying not to miss anybody's comments who didn't ask a question. Where's these yummies veggies? Well, David, they're still growing. The problem with the veggies is I live in Pennsylvania, which means that right now I have peppers. I have no cucumbers. The cucumbers, they're just flowering. What else do I have? Djibouti. Oh, you want to see my Djibouti Kaba? I love Djibouti Kaba. Djibouti Kaba is off the hook. Djibouti Kaba is one of the most delicious fruits. It grows on a tree from Brazil. I have one because I got it from a doctor. Unfortunately, he went to heaven. I think he went to heaven. I don't know. He might have went to hell. I don't know where he went. Hopefully he's not a ghost. I'm in trouble. But he grew this one out big, and I'm actually making a bonsai of it. Let me see if I can show it to you. See that big tree right there? That's a Djibouti Kaba. So what they do, I'm actually making a bonsai of it. When I first got it, it was like 12 feet tall. I've been cutting it down. They make a fruit that you can actually, it flowers on the bark, on the stem, right? And it tastes like, it's hard to describe. It's super sweet. They taste almost like grapes. There's a little seed in there, but it tastes like grapes. It's delicious. That's another one I grow. And she's not flowering, but I think I posted some video. I posted some pictures of that one. I think that's on my page too. Everybody should grow plants. You grow plants too. Yes, everybody should grow. Did I miss a comment from anybody? Cows are gastric, horses not so much. Oh, okay, Carolyn, that actually makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And they have different digestive systems. And I thought that cows are mostly, they give them lots of antibiotics because they feed them unnatural diets. They don't eat the natural grass diets. They eat corn and like cheap things that a lot of farmers. And so most of the manure you get that comes from cows is just like horrible. And they're all supposed to eat grass, but one of them we take care of, which is the horse, so we feed him grass, and the other just feed him the cheapest stuff possible. Let me see, getting down to the bottom of the comments. Frogs are environmental bioassay. Jeannie, you got me on that one. Big girl, big word, girl, big girl. I don't do big words. I don't. You and Brother Ray always teaching me new words. Definitely not boring to us. Well, Dick, 'cause we're brothers from another mother, man. It's just, when you have that, it's addictive, right? When you really get into holistic and growing and plants and natural stuff, it's really, really addictive. Not boring at all. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, Cindy. It's not my knowledge. Not my knowledge, girl. Not that smart. I listen to smart people and I don't question it. And I'll share anything that I know because I want you to share what you know. And when you share what you know, I share what I know, then we all get smarter. I'm just sharing knowledge from people who are a lot smarter than I am. How are coffee grounds for fertilizer? I heard they're good. Jeff, I do use coffee grounds. I'll use them in my citrus pots and my berry. I read one study and they said they were great, Jeff. And I read another study which said they actually don't do any good. I kind of gotten used to it. I kind of go along with this theory. And I got a coffee tree too. I don't know where the heck my coffee tree is. I have a little coffee tree. I got so many plants. I don't know where they are. I don't think it's here. I think it's on the patio. But theoretically, I always like to ask myself those questions. And so, are coffee beans good for trees that like acidic soil? There are those who say no, and then there are those who say yes. I say, what does nature do? Coffee bean grows, drops the bean on the ground. It breaks down, goes into the soil. A tree is not going to produce its fruit that kills the tree, right? So if a coffee bean likes acidic soil, a coffee tree likes acidic soil, it grows up, drops coffee beans on the ground, then the coffee grinds can't be a bad thing, right? Like, it just makes sense. Otherwise, coffee trees wouldn't be a thing. They would have died out half a billion years ago. I think, and I have to go back to that study. It was a long time ago I read it. But I think what happens is people overdo it, right? Like, I think using it purely as lots of it as fertilizer, it's bad. I think the other thing I was thinking about when it came to that is there's probably a difference between Dunkin' Donuts coffee beans and natural coffee beans that come from Colombia or different places. They add a lot of things to them. They flavor them. There are probably chemicals that they use. And so that might be a part of that conversation too, Jeff. But, I do use them. I'll use a little bit of coffee grounds on my my berries, my raspberries, my blueberries, and my, who else likes it? And my citrus. Coffee ground is organic material and high in acidic. Yes, exactly, Jeannie. What I just said, but you said it first, so you got it first. My tomatoes go deep. I put a 12-inch pipe in the water down deeper, and compost lots of compost. No deep tilling either. Yeah, brother Gown. See you. See, you know what you do. So what he's talking about putting a pipe in the ground. When you add aeration to the soil, then the microbiology thrive on it. The reason you don't have a lot of microbiology in your clay layers is because the microbiology that are good for plants are aerobic, so they require a lot of oxygen. So what Gallon does is he has a 12-inch pipe, if I'm understanding it right, down in the ground. It adds oxygen and it adds water, and that's another way actually. I forgot who asked about soil layers. You can actually drive your soil layers deeper by aerating them. Because you're going to let a lot more microbiology thrive down at those depths. The problem with tilling is that when you do it all the time, you disrupt the different soil layers. So that's the theory behind tilling, which is totally correct. But after the first year, and this is what Elaine said, you till the first year and then you stop. And then after that, you just let microbiology break it down. But one of the things I think Gellin just mentioned, which I did read about, is that you can do like certain spots. There's a difference between tilling up your whole daggone garden and just, either tilling one spot or better yet, just drilling a hole and putting a pipe down in the ground to let increased oxygen down there, because then you're going to have microbiology that are thriving at deeper levels. All right. Yeah, Gretchen said I'm still on. I'm about to get off. I'm going to try to get down to the bottom of the comments. I just want to see if I missed anything from anybody who didn't ask a question. Wood ash is what I use. Yes, Sandy, that's awesome. Which book was it? Kathy, I'm not sure what you're asking. The book I mentioned by Colin Campbell was the China study, first 25 pages, amazing. If you have anyone dealing with cardiovascular disease or cancer, it's just a no-brainer. Elaine, if you go further up, Kathy Elaine posted a link. She found it for $2. The other book, Elaine Ingham has a whole bunch of them. Her most prominent book was called The Soil Food Web. So you want to look up The Soil Food Web. It explains about the webs of all this microbiology that work together with the fungi. Natural fires cause succession and regrowth. Yes, Jeannie, and they also lay down a lot of ash, which is why fires are a natural part of the environment. So I always look at it. You know, these theories go back and forth, and what I always ask myself is, naturally, is this how it happened? If this is how it happened for a billion years, it's probably a good thing. If it's not how it happened, somebody's experiment. I try not to go too deep in people's experiment. What kind of fish do you raise? Well, I mostly raise koi, Gown. I talked about it earlier, because I would sell the koi when they got older. I stopped selling koi mainly because people don't take care of their ponds. They don't take care of the fish. I'm on the fence. I don't really like having animals in cages and ponds. I debated with myself because aquaponics, I think, is a future way of growing and life, supporting life. Two sides in my head go back and forth with it because it's like a cow. Why do we still have it? Why is the cow still around? The only reason why the cow is still around is because people like burgers and steaks. If it weren't for that, the cow would have gone extinct a long time ago. The big cows, the big beef cows and the dairy cows, they like milk and ice cream. And while those things are really healthy to eat a lot of, the creatures that human beings fall in love with, they get to stay. They're going to be the last ones to go, right? We seem to be wanting to extinct the planet. People fall in love with things, and if they build habitats for them, they're more likely to take care of them. So that's why I'm a big person for koi with aquaponics. Koi aren't a natural fish. They're a hybrid. We made them. They actually don't exist. There's no environment on this planet that they'll live. We did it. We made that mistake. So if we don't build ponds for them, we don't have some sort of coexistence, they go extinct. So I like them because it's a natural growing system. We actually made this fish. When you buy them, the two big pet stores in our country, in my country anyway, they sell them in fish tanks, which I don't really like much. The more people who have ponds with koi, the more places those fish have to go when they grow up. So I don't sell them. I don't like raise them to sell. I used to like let them breed. I don't do that anymore because to me it's kind of like a puppy mill now. And I have a conflict with that. I think there's already too much of them. It's like someone jumping up saying, you know what? It's like someone jumping up in the United States and saying, I'm going to start breeding pit bulls. Bad idea. Bad idea. Too much pit bull racism right now. We don't need any more of them. So I kind of see animal breeding to sell it kind of like a puppy mill. If anybody wants to do that, go for it. You want to do tilapia for aquaponics. I like the idea. But as far as like contributing to it, it's just not something that I want to do. So I raise them, but I don't breed them. And I always have enough. There's always too many. There's always somebody who wants to get rid of them. And so I'm always getting more goldfish or I'm getting more koi. So anyway, let me keep going down. Kathy says, I love those smoothie shows. I don't know if you're talking about mine, but I'm not drinking an okra smoothie again. I'm not doing that again. It was fun. It was fun. It was just an example to show people that you actually can take something nasty. I hate okra. I'm not an okra person. But I was trying to show people that when you make your smoothies, if you get the natural ingredients that you really like, you can tolerate a lot of things that you don't. And so I made an okra smoothie. Can I start an aquaponics system using goldfish? Absolutely, Cindy. You can start an aquaponics system actually with nothing. Not nothing. What you want is the microbiology. That's the key, is worms, microbiology, and a rock grow bed with sand, clay, if you can do it, river rock, and pea gravel. And if you get river rock and pea gravel, you're getting clay anyway because it's going to come from some sort of river system. And if you don't wash your rocks too well, you're going to have it anyway. Let me get down, low as I can get down. Love my feet in the soil. Yes, Gallon, makes you feel good. Makes you feel good. There's something about grounding. Um, Let me see. Garden is my sanctuary. Is trees. I need to be surrounded by trees. Yes, trees, plants, green things. Absolutely. Got me some heirloom Cherokee purple tomatoes this year. Yes, Gown. Ooh, I love the Cherokee purple. Purple, there's something about purple and health, you guys. There's something about the darker colors. I don't know if it's the minerals because it came from an asteroid or a plant from a purple planet. I don't know. But the darker the veggies are, they say the more nutritional they are. The black tomato I like the best, or the dark tomato, is black creme. Love me some black. I had a black creme tomato once growing an aquaponic system. It grew up a tree. It grew almost, I'm gonna say it was probably about 20 feet up a tree one year. It was amazing. I had a black creme hanging out of this tree in front of my house. If I have a picture, I'll post it. I have to see if I can still have a picture of that. That was from a phone a long time ago, which probably, maybe I don't. They love my moss roses. Yeah, different bugs. I think we're talking about the bugs. Have you ever tried copper tape? Yes, Phoebe, copper works too. Copper slugs hate copper. They hate metals. There's something about the electricity that they don't like. So you can do, if you're doing an aquaponic system or a grow bed, you can do copper strips around the border of it. I've never done it. I think one of my friends did it and he swore by it. They don't like copper. There's something about that's probably in the 5G conversation. There's something about the electricity, the electromagnetic environment and what it does with copper they don't like. They stay away from it. Diatomaceous earth is awesome. Yes, Jeannie. I've actually done aquaponic systems with diatomaceous earth, and I mix diatomaceous earth in a lot of my pots. I like that for drainage and an aggregate more than what is the volcanic rock? The perlite and vermiculite. Hate it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it because perlite and vermiculite, they're not asteroid dust. There might be some minerals in them, but they're very lightweight. They're good for drainage. They come in most of your soils that are suspect when it comes to being organic. I don't know that they provide much from a mineral standpoint, so I really don't like perlite and vermiculite. I like sand because it's natural, it's prolific, it's everywhere. It actually is asteroid dust. And I like diatomaceous earth because it's basically the same thing, but it's more crustaceans and millions of years old. Crushed eggshells, coffee grounds, slug nightmare. I do I do my crushed eggshells in my compost. I like eggshells in my compost because of the proteins. The worms breed a lot more in my vermicompost bins. I don't know that I've ever had any success with using those to keep the slugs off of plants. I have to give it a shot. I haven't tried coffee grounds either. I don't really put that much coffee grounds. I use very little on certain plants. If you pour salt on the slug, you'll kill it. Elaine, that's racism, isn't that, Elaine? That's what we used to do when we were kids. We used to kill slugs. Oh, it was horrible. I don't know if it was salt or sugar. We used one of those two to kill slugs. All right, let me get down to the bottom. Melba said something. I didn't see Melba's. I used to know a praying mantis that would hop on my bathrobe cuff every morning, hike up to my shoulder and hang out while I drank coffee. Yes, Melba. You know what's funny? I've got grow beds inside, and one year I had a praying mantis egg that hatched in one of these grow beds, and I came home. It was in my workshop, and there were like hundreds of praying mantis everywhere. And so for like 2 weeks, anytime I put down my coffee, I have little praying mantis on my coffee bowl. They were all over my computer. They were everywhere. The good thing is I had aphids that year, and they were just eating. They ate to death that year. They ate really, really well. But praying mantis are aliens. They're freaking amazing. I love them because I'll sit there and I'll just look at them. They'll just look at me, and they kind of do that thing with their head to like they'll look at you. One eye go this way, the other eye go that way, and they cock their head like this, and like they're looking at you and they're trying to make out what the hell are you? You're a dumb human. You've only been here a few 100,000 years. You guys are really stupid. But I'm gonna clean off your plants anyway. It's weird. I know. I won't go there. down there. But if you look at the praying mantis when they cock their head, they're freaking amazing. I have some pictures of them. I think I'll put some videos of them out. Let me go down to the bottom. Let me go to the bottom. Make sure I get the last couple comments, and I'm gonna get out of here. Crayfish. I heard about that, Los. I heard about crayfish aquaponics, which I guess makes sense. I mean, they're an aquatic creature, right? They're providing to the ecosystem. They can break down lots of different things. I've actually thrown garbage in an aquaponic grow bed before, right? I've thrown it in there. The worms break it down, and that does well. I don't throw too much because it affects the fish, obviously. Thanks for coming and running around the time. I needed to listen to an intelligent conversation while cooking supper after working. I needed reality and connection. Sorry I'm so wordy today, usually more quiet. No, well, thank you for joining, Sandy. Sometimes I come on late. It just depends on what's going on. I'll probably do it a little more and more. Now it's warming up and I can do some growing and some gardening. I'll show you guys. I don't know if you want to see. I do a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's boring. It's fun to me. Like I'll plant bonsai. I'll trim bonsai. I've got everything up here from Chevalier and something new this year I'm growing. I'm growing a couple of new things. What is that? It is a wood sorrel. I'm growing sorrel because forgot his name. I met a brother who grows sorrel. He makes a sorrel wine. He gave me some seeds, and so I'm growing a bunch of sorrel because I want to make sorrel jellies. I would love to try to make a sorrel wine. I understand every part of the plant is usable and you can use it for a lot of different things. So I'm growing that this year. I've got a bunch of rain trees. I got basil, African basil. I love African basil, grows well. I got a couple new herbs that I've never grown before, and I've got a malungu tree I'm growing now that never grew before. I always have something crazy. So I'm always out here doing something. So I'm gonna come on later as it's sunny later, and I'll show you guys some stuff. I try not to bore you. Last couple comments. Yes, praying mantis want to communicate with us. I think so, Melba. I think I think insects are aliens. Got booted again. I garden a major is growing. I got booted again. Is gardening a major controversy now too? Gown, it might be. It might be. We talk about how if we grow food, we don't need our government. I don't think they like that. I said that. I think I said it on a thread on YouTube or something. A guy got mad at me and he was just like, the FBI is going to come get you. I'm like, really? For growing? Really? Is that bad now? They want you so weak that you can't grow food. Gal, you never know. We live in a silly world today, and I really don't care. I'm still, to me, being strong is being able to take care of yourself, taking care of your friends, taking care of your family and your community. These are things we used to do that we stopped doing, which is why I'm doing it. I'm exploring the automation with doing it so we can do it more in abundance. Being a software engineer, I like aquaponics because it's one of the few grow systems you can completely automate. And now we have LiDAR systems. You actually can automate the last step. You can only do like 90% of the automation step, the planting, the growing. As long as the water keeps running, the plants keep growing. Now you have LiDAR systems. You can automate the picking of the fruit from the plants. And so I think it's a future requirement. And so that's why I grow in aquaponics, because one of the things I want to do is make a grow system open source and just give it away. So that's one of the reasons I do it. Last couple comments. It's the best video, not boring at all. Well, thank you, Elaine. I appreciate that. It's fun for me. I was planting tomatoes. Actually, I got to get back to work. I got a few more tomatoes I want to plant. I think I'm not going to mess with the papayas. I think I have some basil I got to transplant, and I've got some mimosa pudica I've got to transplant. I got a few other, I still got a bunch of work to do, but I wanted to come and show you guys that real quick. Medicinal tomatoes. Everything you grow, try to grow some of it as natural as possible, medicinal, because you're supplementing the time in the winter where we're eating like crap. So anyway, organic gardening is considered controversial by Big A. It is, Cindy, because when you grow food and you make people healthy in a medicinal way, they don't buy medicines, they don't need health care. It affects probably 100 different industries. If people are strong and healthy, they're out in their garden, they're working, they're losing weight, they're You know, they're grounding, they're getting soil, they're being exposed to the natural elements, they're learning about seed saving, they're realizing why our ancestors did all of this. And when people are healthier, then they drink less soda, they eat less sugar, they do all these things, they're healthier and they're stronger. And to me, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I just think it's a business plan. I think the sicker people are, the more money a lot of industry makes. And it's not a stretch. Businesses want to make money, and that just requires people to be sick. I don't think they want people to be sick. I think that they just don't answer the question. You can go look online and realize what the healthy things are. They're just not filling in the dots. And most people don't read this stuff. And so it is very important to a healthy life. Anyway, let me get going. I got work to do. Always pausing. Thanks for joining. It's a lot of fun. Love you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.